right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling FMCG sales growth. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, lots to unpack there.
You know, it's something I think a lot of our listeners are interested in.
For sure.
We're working with a great article here from Response Digital Growth Marketing Agency. It's called FMCG Industry. Tips and strategies to increase sales and grow business.
Catchy title.
Right. And get this. The global FMCG market is projected to hit over $15 trillion by 2025.
That's a big number.
That's a lot of toothpaste and cereal flying off the shelves.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we got to figure out how to get a piece of that pie. You know, how to make a dent in this massive industry.
This article is a good place to start, like a roadmap.
Okay, so first things first, what exactly are we talking about when we say FMCG?
FMCG stands for fast-moving consumer goods, the everyday stuff you use.
Okay, give me some examples.
Food, drinks, toiletries, cleaning supplies, that kind of thing.
The stuff you just grab at the store without even thinking about it.
Exactly. They call them fast-moving because they have a short shelf life and people buy them all the time.
High demand.
High demand.
So it's all about volume, right? Mm-hmm. High sales volume because these products are constantly being bought and replenished.
You got it.
But that high demand also means it's a competitive landscape.
Super competitive. Everyone wants a piece of that $15 trillion pie.
And it's not like a static industry either, right?
No, it's always changing.
Always changing. New technologies, shifting consumer behavior.
All of that.
So where do you even begin to stand out in that kind of market?
Well, the article breaks down 5 key characteristics of the FMCG industry.
Right, let's hear them. What's the first one?
Number 1, market research is absolutely essential. You really have to understand your consumers.
Deeply.
Deeply, yeah. Their perceptions, lifestyles, purchasing drivers, everything.
I mean, that makes sense. If you don't know who you're selling to and why they'd pick your product over another, you're basically shooting in the dark.
Basically, yeah.
So it's all about building a strong brand, a brand that people trust. Think about it. When you're at the store, staring at a wall of toothpaste, what makes you choose one over another?
Usually it's a brand I recognize or one that I think will work best, you know?
Exactly. Okay, so market research is number 1. What's the second characteristic?
Marketing. Marketing is crucial.
Because?
You've got a market that's saturated with similar products. Effective marketing campaigns, that's how you stand out.
Sometimes it feels like it's not even about actual product differences, but the perceived differences that marketing creates.
You're not wrong.
It's the art of branding.
It is.
Okay, what's number 3?
This one might surprise you. The core production technology, it's pretty stable.
So we're not talking about constant innovation in the way these goods are actually made.
Not really, no. It's more about optimizing the existing processes, making them as efficient as possible.
Gotcha. All right, number 4.
Launching new products, it requires a big upfront investment.
Oh, I bet. You've got research and development, testing, marketing, and then getting that product on store shelves that can't be cheap.
It's a huge barrier to entry, especially for newcomers.
So that's high initial launch costs. Okay, what about the last characteristic, number 5?
Low capital intensity. Once a product is established, the ongoing investment in equipment and stuff, it's relatively low.
Because you've already got your systems in place. And I'm guessing cash transactions are still the norm?
Yeah, pretty much. Everything moves so fast in FMCG, cash just makes sense.
Makes sense. So we've got a picture of the FMCG landscape, but how do we actually boost sales? That's what everyone wants to know.
Exactly. That's the real question.
Let's get tactical. First step to success.
Knowing your customer, without a doubt. Really knowing them.
And consumer behavior changes all the time. How do you stay ahead of that?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Are we talking like traditional market research surveys, focus groups, or is it more about digital tools and data?
I think it's both, honestly. You need good data to make smart decisions, you know? Are you using social media listening tools? Are you analyzing purchase data, using AI to figure out buying patterns?
That's a lot to consider.
It's a lot, yeah. But it's worth it.
Okay, what's the next strategy after really understanding your customers?
Building a good sales management system, think of it as your growth engine.
I like that.
It's about managing your leads and turning them into paying customers.
And that's something Response Digital, from our article, really focuses on, right? They offer solutions for optimizing the sales process.
Yeah, they do.
All right, what's the next strategy?
Embracing digital tools. Digital transformation is changing everything.
Can you give me an example of what that looks like?
It's about making things more efficient, streamlining how products are delivered, improving the customer experience, connecting everyone involved in the process.
Okay, so e-commerce platforms, inventory management systems, data analytics, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's about using technology to create a more efficient and responsive system overall.
Makes sense. All right, what else? What's strategy number 4?
Creating a bottom-up savings plan. It might seem counterintuitive, but you can't just focus on increasing sales.
Right, because you could be selling a ton of product but still losing money if you're not careful.
Exactly. So you need to manage costs effectively. Have a plan in place to control operational expenses and prevent waste.
So it's not just about making more money, it's about making sure you're keeping more of the money you make.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about the last strategy, number 5?
Operational efficiency. It's directly tied to cost control. If you're analyzing and managing your operations carefully, you can minimize those expenses and boost your bottom line.
And wouldn't you know it, Response Digital offers tools for this too. They seem to cover everything. But wait, there's more. They also give 5 specific tips to supercharge sales in FMCG. Are we ready for that?
I think so. Let's hear them.
Okay, tip number 1 is all about promotions, which of course, everybody loves a good deal. But are constant price cuts really the best way to go?
Good question. It can be tricky. Promotions are great for attracting new customers, that's for sure, and for boosting sales in the short term.
Duh.
But if you're cutting prices all the time, you can end up devaluing your brand in the long run.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot, right? Being strategic with promotions. You got to make sure you're targeting the right groups of customers with the right offers.
You got it.
I've also noticed a lot of brands using those promotion bars on their websites to highlight deals.
Yeah.
Do you think those are effective?
I think they can be, yeah. If it's a good offer and it's easy to see, I think people will click.
It's all about grabbing attention.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered promotions. What's the next tip for boosting those FMCG sales?
Building customer loyalty. This is huge, especially in FMCG.
Why especially in FMCG?
Well, because purchases happen so frequently. People are constantly buying these products, right? So if you can build loyalty, they'll keep coming back to you.
Instead of going to your competitors.
Exactly. So how do you do that? How do you build that kind of loyalty?
I'm all ears.
Well, it's about going beyond just having a good product, you know? It's about creating a positive brand experience, providing great customer service, making your customers feel valued.
It's like building a relationship.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to tip number 3, subscriptions.
Interesting one.
It seems like we're seeing more and more of this in the FMCG space. What's the logic behind it?
Well, FMCG products, they're all about repeat purchases, right?
Right. People run out, they need more, it's a cycle.
Exactly. So a subscription model basically automates that whole process.
Makes it easy for the customer.
Right. It's convenient. And for the business, it means a steady stream of revenue.
Win-win.
Exactly.
And I've seen some really big brands doing this successfully. Unilever, Nestle, they're all over it. They're offering everything from coffee and razors to pet food and baby stuff through subscriptions.
And it makes sense, right?
It does. It does. I mean, I even subscribe to a service that delivers organic snacks every month. I love it.
There you go.
It's all about convenience. Okay, what's our next tip for really dominating the FMCG market?
Building strong retailer relationships. This one's all about understanding your target market.
Okay, how so?
Ask yourself, how many retailers do I actually need to reach my ideal customer? And which ones are the best fit for my brand?
You've got to be strategic. It's not just about getting into as many stores as possible. It's about choosing the right stores. Stores that align with your target audience, where your products will have the most impact.
That's exactly right. And the article gives some really good advice for choosing those partners. First, create a picture of success. Figure out what influences purchase decisions in your target market.
Things like what?
Well, regionality is one.
Of course, yeah.
Categories and sizes of stores, seasonality even.
You got to make sure you're putting your products where people are actually looking for them.
That's the key.
Okay, what else?
Then you focus on the stores with the highest sales potential for your specific products. You don't need to be everywhere, just where it matters.
Focus on the channels that will give you the best results. So it's quality over quantity.
Exactly.
What else should we be thinking about when it comes to retail partners?
This one's important. You need a good sales team. They need to know how to build relationships, both with the store owners and with the customers.
It's about building trust. You want your sales team to be seen as like partners, not just vendors.
Right.
Okay, and what's the last piece of advice for choosing good retail partners?
Don't just set it and forget it. You have to keep monitoring your chosen stores.
Makes sense.
Make sure they're meeting your brand standards. Make sure they're representing your products well.
Be proactive, stay engaged.
Exactly. Now, the last tip in the article, and this one's often overlooked, is the power of after-sales service.
Interesting. You don't always think about that with FMCG, right? We usually associate excellent customer service with more expensive products.
I know, right? But think about it. Think about a time you had a really memorable experience with a brand, an FMCG brand, after you already bought something.
That's a good question. I can't say anything specific comes to mind. Maybe a helpful response on social media, like if I had a question about a product.
Exactly. Those little things matter. A quick response, a smooth return, even a follow-up email, they can turn a one-time buyer into a loyal customer.
It's about building a connection, even with the everyday products we take for granted.
Absolutely. And in such a competitive industry, that connection can make all the difference.
So much great advice in this article.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I'm curious, what are some of the biggest challenges FMCG companies face when trying to implement these strategies?
Oh, there are quite a few, actually. One major one is data management.
Data.
FMCG companies, they collect so much data from so many different places.
Sales transactions, customer surveys, website analytics, social media.
Exactly. Making sense of it all, that's a huge challenge.
So it's like drinking from a fire hose.
It is. So you need good tools and smart people to turn that data into something useful, into insights that actually inform your decisions.
Insights that can help you with product development, marketing, your supply chain, customer service.
All of it, yeah.
What else? What other challenges are there?
Keeping up with technology and with consumer expectations. The digital landscape, it's constantly changing.
What works today might be obsolete tomorrow.
Exactly. FMCG companies need to be flexible. They need to be willing to experiment, try new things.
It's a constant game of catch-up.
It can feel that way sometimes, yeah. But it's also an exciting time to be in the FMCG industry.
I can see that. So for our listeners out there, what are some key takeaways to focus on if you want to make it in the FMCG world?
Well, the consumer is king. Remember that. Always remember that. Everything you do, from developing the product to marketing it to supporting it, it should all be focused on the consumer.
Put yourself in their shoes.
Exactly. And embrace data. Don't be afraid of it. Use it. Invest in the tools and the expertise you need to collect it, analyze it, make it work for you.
Data is power.
It is. And finally, never stop learning. The FMCG industry, it's always changing, so you have to be willing to change with it.
Be adaptable.
Be adaptable.
Embrace a growth mindset.
Absolutely.
Now, before we shift gears to start talking about trends in FMCG, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest opportunities you see for innovation and disruption in this industry?
Oh, that's a good one. Lots to talk about there.
That's where things get really interesting. We'll dive deeper into all that in part 2, so make sure you come back for that. Welcome back. Before we went down this rabbit hole of trends, we were talking about after-sales service.
Right, those little interactions that can make a big difference.
And how those can actually build brand loyalty.
Yeah, exactly.
You have any specific examples of companies that are doing this really well? I always like to hear about what's working for other people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Inspiration.
Tons of inspiration out there. Take Unilever, for example. Their Love, Beauty, and Planet line, those personal care products.
I've seen those.
They're eco-friendly, but they've gone a step further. They created this whole online community,
What, for their customers?
Yeah. Customers share tips for sustainable living, get product recommendations. They even have virtual workshops on stuff like DIY beauty recipes.
That's so smart. It's not just about selling the product anymore. It's about creating this whole ecosystem around it.
Yeah, building a community.
And people buy into that. It gives them a sense of belonging, like they're part of something bigger.
Exactly. It's more than just a transaction.
And that community, that translates into loyalty.
It does.
What other examples are there?
Nestle is doing some interesting stuff with their Nespresso brand.
Those little coffee pods.
Yeah, those. They're really into personalized communication. They send emails based on what you've bought before, offer discounts on your favorite blends. They even have troubleshooting tips and videos for their machines.
So they're using data not just to sell more, but to actually help their customers.
Exactly. It's about creating a better experience.
And I bet it's working.
Oh, yeah. There's this study by Bain & Company, I think it was. They found that FMCG brands that personalize their after-sales service, they see a 20% higher customer retention rate.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
So personalization is key. But how do you do that at scale? You can't exactly handwrite thank you notes to 1 million people.
Right, you need technology.
What kind of technology?
Marketing automation tools, they can
Right.
really help with this. You can segment your customers, put them into different groups based on what they buy, their demographics, even how they behave on your website.
Oh, I see.
And then you tailor your communication to each group. So you're not just blasting out generic messages. You're sending stuff that's relevant to each person.
That makes a lot of sense. So instead of saying, dear valued customer, it's more like, hey, Sarah, we noticed you love our organic coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff, the inspiring examples, the power of personalization. But what about the challenges? What are some of the biggest hurdles FMCG companies face when they're trying to implement these after-sales service strategies?
Well, we've talked about it already, but data management, that's a big one.
Still a challenge.
It is. FMCG companies, they just have so much data from so many different sources. It can be overwhelming.
It's like trying to drink from a fire hose.
It really is. And if you don't have a clear picture of who your customers are, what they want, you can't really personalize anything.
So investing in the right tools and people to make sense of that data, that's crucial.
It's essential.
Okay, what other challenges are there?
Keeping up with technology and with what customers expect, things are changing so fast in the digital world.
It's like you're always playing catch up.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just create an after-sales strategy and then never touch it again. You got to be constantly evaluating, adapting, staying relevant.
Always be testing. Always be iterating. Okay, let's switch gears again and dive back into those trends we were talking about. What's shaping the future of FMCG?
Okay, so we were talking about e-commerce and DTC brands.
Right, the rise of online shopping and those brands that sell directly to consumers.
Exactly. Let's talk about what's happening in those spaces.
Yeah, let's get specific. What makes these DTC brands so disruptive? How are they using technology to create those unique customer experiences?
One of the things I'm seeing more and more of is these personalized subscription boxes.
Oh, I love those.
Me too. They cater to specific needs, specific preferences, like you want organic snacks delivered to your door. Done. Eco-friendly cleaning supplies. No problem. You can even get personalized beauty products based on your skin type.
I actually subscribe to a few of those myself. It's so convenient.
I know, right? It's all about convenience
Yeah.
and personalization. And these companies, they're using data and tech to really nail that personalization. They're tracking your purchases, your preferences, even your feedback to make sure each box is perfect for you.
So you're not just getting a random assortment of stuff, you're getting a box full of things you actually want. That's good marketing.
It is, and it's working. McKinsey did a report. They said the global subscription box market is expected to reach over $473 billion by 2025.
That's crazy. So subscriptions are here to stay.
Definitely here to stay. And the innovations, they don't stop there.
Oh, what else is happening?
We're also seeing DTC brands using augmented reality and virtual reality.
Like in their marketing.
Yeah. Imagine like being able to try on makeup virtually before you buy it, or using your phone to see how a new piece of furniture would look in your living room.
That's so cool.
I know, right? It's especially helpful for FMCG where how things look, how they fit. That's so important.
It's like bringing a store to you, but even better.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's AI.
Always AI.
It's everywhere. It can analyze your data, figure out what you're likely to want next, and then, bam, personalized recommendations. Hyper-targeted marketing campaigns.
It's like having a personal shopper that knows you better than you know yourself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so we've covered e-commerce and DTC brands. What other trends are out there? What else is shaping the future of FMCG?
Well, we touched on it earlier, but the demand for sustainable and ethical products, that's only going to get bigger.
Consumers are getting smarter. They care about where their stuff comes from, how it's made.
Absolutely. They want to know that the brands they support, that they share their values.
Values around sustainability, ethics, social responsibility.
All of that, yeah. And it means that FMCG companies, they have to rethink everything, how they source ingredients, their packaging, their manufacturing processes, everything.
It's not just about making a good product anymore. It's about making a good product that's also good for the world.
Exactly. And there's some amazing innovation happening in this area. For example, some companies are using biodegradable plastics made from plants.
So instead of plastic that ends up in a landfill, we can have packaging that just breaks down naturally.
Exactly. There are even companies working on edible packaging.
Edible packaging. Wow, that's next level. What will they think of next?
Who knows? It's an exciting time. We're also seeing a lot more refillable and reusable packaging, which is great, encouraging people to think about the whole life cycle of a product.
It's a more circular approach. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Exactly. And technology, it's playing a big role in this shift towards sustainability. Blockchain, for example.
Blockchain, the buzzword of the moment.
It can be used to track where ingredients come from, make sure everything is ethically sourced.
Well, that's interesting. So, like, you could scan a product and see its whole journey from farm to shelf.
Exactly. It's about transparency, giving consumers the information they need to make good choices.
And supporting brands that are doing things the right way.
Exactly.
This is all so fascinating. But before we get too lost in the future, what about the in-store experience? Is that still relevant in today's world with everyone shopping online?
I think it is, yeah.
Really?
It's definitely evolving, but it's still important. Brands are finding new ways to make the in-store experience more engaging, more interactive, using technology. Well, like those smart shelves you see in some stores.
Oh, the ones with the sensors that can track inventory and stuff.
They can even give you personalized recommendations while you're browsing.
That's so cool.
We're also seeing more interactive displays, touch screens, where you can get product info, watch demos, even find recipes.
It's about making it more fun, more than just walking up and down the aisles.
Exactly. And of course, there's mobile. Your phone can connect the online and offline worlds.
Loyalty programs, personalized offers, AR experiences. It's amazing what you can do with a smartphone these days.
It is. But remember, innovation, it's not just about the tech. It's about understanding what people need and finding creative ways to meet those needs.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about e-commerce, DTC brands, the whole sustainability thing, and the in-store experience. Are there any other big trends we should be aware of? What else is shaping the future of FMCG?
Well, one that's really interesting to me is the rise of the conscious consumer.
What's a conscious consumer?
It's someone who's really thinking about the impact of their purchases. They're looking for brands that are doing good in the world,
Not just good products, but good companies.
Exactly. Companies that care about sustainability, about ethics, about social responsibility, and this trend, it's changing everything.
How so?
Well, FMCG companies, they can't just focus on profit anymore. They have to show that they're committed to making a positive impact.
It's about people, planet, and profit, the triple bottom line.
Exactly. Consumers have more power than ever before. They can choose to support brands that align with their values, and they're doing just that.
So it's a good time to be a brand that's genuinely trying to make a difference.
It is, but it's also a challenging time for brands that are lagging behind.
The bar is getting higher.
Absolutely.
So what does all this mean for the future of FMCG? What can we expect in the next few years?
I think we'll see even more disruption, even more innovation. The lines between online and offline shopping, they'll keep blurring. Personalization will get even more sophisticated. And sustainability, that's not going away.
It sounds like it's going to be a wild ride.
It is. But it's also going to be really exciting for both brands and consumers.
Okay, before we move on to the last part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier, after-sales service.
Yeah.
It seems like it's becoming even more critical in today's market with so much competition and such high expectations.
It is, definitely. It's not just an afterthought anymore. It's a crucial part of the customer journey. It's how brands can really differentiate themselves.
So for our listeners out there, the people who are trying to build successful FMCG businesses, what are the key takeaways when it comes to after-sales service?
Well, first, make it easy for customers to reach you.
Offer different ways to get in touch.
Exactly. Phone, email, social media, live chat, whatever it takes. And respond quickly.
Don't make people wait forever to get their questions answered.
Right. And be proactive. Don't wait for them to come to you with a problem. Follow up after purchase, send helpful tips, show them you care about their experience.
Make them feel like they matter.
Exactly. And personalize your communication. Use data to tailor your messages and offers to each individual customer.
Show them you know them.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to go above and beyond. Surprise them with something unexpected, a little gesture of appreciation, a personalized recommendation.
Create those little wow moments that make people remember your brand.
Exactly. Remember, after-sales service, it's an opportunity. It's a chance to build relationships, to turn a one-time buyer into a loyal customer, into an advocate for your brand.
This has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I've learned so much. Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I have one last question for you.
Okay, shoot.
Given all these trends that are shaping the future FMCG, what are the biggest opportunities for innovation and disruption in the area of after-sales service?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in part 3, so make sure you tune back in.
All right, last leg of our FMCG deep dive. You left us hanging What does innovation in after-sales service actually look like with all these trends we've been talking about?
Well, we know personalization is key, right? Even after someone's bought something.
Yeah, definitely.
Think about it. You buy a new, I don't know, a smart appliance, a fancy coffee maker, whatever. Wouldn't it be cool if instead of just getting the manual, the company sent you personalized video tutorials
Oh, 100%.
based on your specific model?
And the features I actually use.
Exactly. No more generic FAQs or those
Yeah.
useless manuals.
Please, no more manuals. I want information that's relevant to EP.
Exactly. And that's where AI can really shine,
Yeah.
Machine learning. Imagine a chatbot, but it's not just answering basic questions. It's actually learning your preferences.
Okay, that's interesting.
It remembers your past interactions, sees how you use the product, and then suggests solutions or gives you tips proactively.
It's like having your own personal product expert on call.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be just about problem solving. AI can also be used to build a stronger connection with customers.
I like that.
Like, imagine getting an email on your birthday, but it's not just a generic happy birthday message. It's personalized with a discount on your favorite products. Or maybe a curated list of recipes based on things you've bought before.
Those little things, they really do make you feel special. Like the company actually cares.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about another trend that could shake things up in after-sales service gamification.
Gamification, like turning after-sales service into a game.
Pretty much, yeah. Think about loyalty programs, but instead of just points and rewards, it's more interactive.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
You could have badges, or customers could unlock special content by doing things after they buy something.
Like you kind of things.
Leaving reviews, sharing their experience on social media, participating in forums, stuff like that.
It's a way to keep them engaged.
Exactly. And it plays into that whole, competitive spirit people have. We love to be recognized, to get rewards.
Makes those interactions more fun.
Right. It's not just transactional anymore. It's an experience.
And that builds loyalty.
Yeah.
Makes people more likely to recommend your brand to others.
Exactly. Now, AR and VR, they have a role to play here too. After sales service, I mean.
Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Imagine using AR to, get instructions overlaid right onto a product, if you're trying to put something together.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh,
No more deciphering those crazy diagrams in the instruction manual.
no more manuals. Or think about using VR to create training experiences for customers. Like, let's say you buy a really complex piece of equipment.
Yeah.
You could put on a VR headset and actually practice using it in a virtual environment.
Learn all the ins and outs before you even touch the real thing.
Exactly. Safe and controlled.
Okay, so we've got AI, gamification, AR, and VR. Anything else on the horizon that could change after-sales service as we know it?
One more thing, blockchain.
Blockchain? Everyone's talking about blockchain.
Right? It's the hot new thing. But it could actually be really useful here.
How so? I got to be honest, I still don't really understand how blockchain works.
It's basically a way to record information,
Okay.
but it's decentralized, it's secure, it's transparent.
And how would that apply to after-sales service?
You could create a record of all customer interactions, warranties, service history, all of that.
And because it's blockchain, it's tamper-proof.
Exactly. No one can mess with the data.
So it builds trust.
Huge trust, both for the brand and for the customer.
Wow. Blockchain really does have the potential to change everything.
I think so.
Okay, so those are just a few examples, right,
Just a taste.
of how after-sales service is being innovated. The key takeaway, I think, is that brands need to think outside the box. They need to be creative, experiment with new tech.
And always be focused on the customer.
What can we do to make their experience better at
Yeah.
every stage? Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. I feel like I have a whole notebook full of ideas now.
Glad to hear it.
Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Just that the future of FMCG, it's exciting. It's a little scary maybe, but mostly exciting.
Lots of change happening.
Tons of change. E-commerce, sustainability, AI, personalization, it's all coming together. The brands that will win are the ones that are willing to embrace all of that, Adapt, innovate, put the customer first.
Be brave, be creative, be customer obsessed.
Exactly. And never stop learning. The FMCG landscape, it's constantly shifting. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay ahead of the game.
Great advice. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your expertise.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you've learned something new, got some inspiration for your own businesses. Until next time, happy selling.